My name is Sergey. I'm a composer and producer. I make music as Measure, and I make experimental electronic music. I do a little bit of film scoring, a little bit of scoring for live dance projects. I also play live electronic music, and I kind of live in a world between electronic production and composition for concert works, anything in between. I think music tends to be the most successful when it takes into account how it's going to be perceived or how it's going to be consumed. Like a lot of music that's written for the concert hall, like you think of like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or something, does really well because it takes into account where the listener is going to be, how the listener is going to experience it. So for a lot of music that is recorded, it's experienced by people wearing headphones or in speakers in their rooms in a really specific place. And you often have extremely direct access to those people's ears and how they're listening. So reverb is an extremely powerful tool to kind of shape the space where the music exists, or even elements of that music. One really powerful tool for music in general is playing with people's expectation. So a lot of sounds, you have a certain connotation with the kind of space that it's going to be heard in or what the reverb for it is. And it can be cool to use reverb to sort of like mess up with that expectation a little bit. Like for example, if you have a long tail reverb, or a reverb that sounds like a big room, you expect to hear that for a long time. So if you have a big reverb and then you suddenly cut it off completely, it's very unexpected because you expected that reverb tail to go for a long time, and then it's like a nice little piece of, like a nice little surprise or a nice little ear candy. I wrote this piece called Voices in the Whir, which is written with a very particular piano in mind. It's a piano called the Disc Clavier, which is almost like a robot piano. So you can actually, it's a real piano, but it plays itself. And the piece was written for a really specific room. And I used reverb to sort of like give a sense of, to create this illusion about the space that you're experiencing the piece in. There's a section of the piece where it's nothing but piano playing in a really quiet way, but there's a backing track that consists of just the piano's reverb. So you can actually be in the room with the piano and hear the piano's natural sound, but the speakers around you are playing nothing but the reverb from that piano, which is a weird illusion because you're in the room with the piano, but it feels like you're in a different type of room because of the reverb playing. And then the reverb changes suddenly. So you're in the room in front of the piano and you feel like you're in one kind of space, and then suddenly the reverb changes to like a massive hall. And now even though you're in a small, really quiet room, it feels like you're in a big hall. And then suddenly it changes back to like a really tinny, canned kind of reverb. So now you're in the room with the piano, but suddenly it feels like you're in a different space. And this kind of change happens several more times, and that plays with the expectation of how you're experiencing this piece in a certain room. I think of reverb as kind of like when you're cooking and you use sauce, like reverb is kind of like a sauce. You can use too much of it really easily. Like if you're cooking with bad ingredients and you dump a ton of barbecue sauce on it, it will taste pretty good. And you can do the same with reverb. If you have a bad quality recording, you can use reverb to sort of like fix it. But it's not always the best idea to just dump reverb on something. You want to really be careful about how you use it. I would say if you're getting started with using reverb, really listen to how the reverb sounds and pick a reverb that you like. Don't just slap on a reverb but actually go through the different presets and maybe find a few different plugins that you like. I love Valhalla Vintage Verb, that's my favorite plugin, but anything you use will have a good stock plugin. I love Silver Verb in Logic. Ableton has a lot of good options too. But even then, don't just put one on and stick with it. Flip through a few different ones and see how it complements the sound. When you're writing music that's meant to be experienced by somebody listening to it at home, if it's a recorded medium, you have a lot of parameters to play with beyond just, the chord progression or the melody or the rhythm. The way that something sounds becomes a core aspect of the actual music. Reverb is really powerful for that because it can create a sense of space. If something sounds close to you or further away, or if it sounds like it's in a big room or a small room, or if it sounds really wide or narrow, and reverb will affect all of those things too. For example, you can have a phrase repeated really close in a small room reverb and it'll sound like it's right there, and then echoed maybe later on in the track in a much further away big room reverb kind of sound. So those decisions will affect not just the mix, but also how a piece is perceived creatively.